Hi, everybody. It's nice to see you back again. This is Mary D. Welch, host of the Mary D. Business from Home show, and I'm just here to go over some other businesses from home. As I talked about in the previous broadcast about the last one that we went into, was about travel. And I mentioned that my husband and I we have been in this travel business. I say this. It's been when I tell you good to us, exceptionally good to us. I mean, it literally has. It has allowed us to travel the world. We've been to so many places. We've been on so many cruises, ladies and gentlemen. Truth be told, we can't even count them. That's the truth. We can't even count them because we were able to go either free or at a nominal fee. And I didn't really get into all that at the last podcast. Maybe I should have, but that's the truth. We've been able to travel nominally all over the world. So I would encourage you, if you're interested in doing any kind of travel, to take a look at that site. But I also want to go into, as I review, that was the one we talked about. The one before that, and we had the special guest, Mr. Charles Radney. He was on, and it was about teaching at the colleges or universities. And you can teach right from your home, right from your kitchen table, as it may be. And we're going to go into that. Oh, what happened? The broadcast kind of, we went somewhere. I don't know what happened. I'm sitting here, you never know. We're talking technology here. Technology sometimes has its own way of doing what it wants to do. If you guys have never experienced that, I have. So that's just how it is. What can I say? So I would encourage you. Let me say this to you so you know. When it comes to working from home, this is what I would say to each and every one of you. Make sure it's something you want to do and it's fun. And I'm going to tell you why. I work from home, and my husband and I both, we both work from home, but we love it. I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this is the truth. I don't get out of bed in the morning. I jump out of bed in the morning. Think about that. I am so excited to be able to do whatever it is I want to do. However, I set my day up or not, it's okay. We get to make that decision. So that becomes our decision. Nobody else is making it for us. Nobody tells us what to do or when to do it or anything like that. We get to do it for ourselves. And that's what I love about working from home. So I would encourage you. Let me go over. I do want to go back and go into the work from home as to the areas that I want to review with you first, and then give you a couple other areas you may have not already thought of, or maybe you have. But I will just kind of hit on those and introduce those to you. Okay. And the third one I didn't really go into a lot of detail was the writing. The writing, that was the very first one I talked about, and I'm going to give you all of them. Okay, so we'll get a chance to go back through each and every one of them. Okay, this is a new one I'm going to introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, and that is being a book publisher. If you never considered this, consider being a book publisher. If you like to read, or I'm going to give you a couple. I said if you like to read, that would be if you're really good at English skills, it's book editing, to edit people's work. There are people, they will pay you to edit. Let me tell you, editing is big because our computers don't pick up all of the things that go wrong. They really don't. But I can tell you for a fact, people, okay, let me just say this. Sometimes they pick it up. They don't pick up everything because it's not always what we say, it's how we say it. The same thing goes for when we write. So sometimes the computer doesn't pick up the things that we thought it should have, and it may not pick up certain nuances in our writing. And you need an editor. Editing, you can be at home. You can read. It can come to you electronically, or you can print it, and they send you a manuscript, or they send you a manuscript for a movie. That's another. I didn't even get into that. Or they send you the book in a paper version. Many of us don't want the paper versions now because it's too bulky and time consuming. We want the electronic version, and that's fine. But the point is, you would get it and you would be able to do the editing on that person's work. Maybe you can make it sound better. It's sometimes it's just tweaking things. It's not big things. It can be little things, but it's things that need to be tweaked. And if you just tweak them, make it sound a certain way. Have you ever seen something you said, well, they should have said it this way, or they should have said it that way? I think I know I have. I say I do it all the time. So I would tell you or encourage you, if you've ever considered editing, that's another field you can work right from home. You don't have to go into an office to do that. Usually, if you're an editor, you get to work it around your schedule. There's nobody telling you we need to do X, Y, and Z. You get to determine. I'm actually editing something right now, and I just said to the client, you have to give me some time because I have to sit down because we're about to go to print. So this is now we're at it actually, to be honest with you, in this product, this client, the book is complete, the editor has completed, and the writer have said, okay, it's complete. Now, and I told him, I said, okay, now you give it to me. So even though they've said it, they've already both said, oh, the book is done. Okay, that's fine. But the book is published under our publishing house. My husband and I, we own a publishing company. So if it's under our publishing house, I need to see the book too. I need to see, is there anything, because this is what I've learned, and I'm sure many of you probably have noticed it. When you are working on a product, or a project, they're projects. You can call them a project or a product, either one. After you've been working on it so long, you can't see the errors anymore. So the editor and the author have been working on this project together now for about, I'm going to say 3 months, maybe 4. They can't see any more errors. They can't. Even if they want to, they can't. They can't hear them when they write, and they cannot see them. And that's why I said, now I will look at the product. I will look at the project. I will take it over because I already know they can't see it. I already know they're not going to be able to find errors because now they're tired of it. They've seen it months, the same thing, the same words. They don't even know that they're tired of it. So you have to get a neutral person who has never seen it. And I guarantee you, they can find things wrong. Guaranteed. And I haven't even read it yet. So I'm just really excited for them that they think it's done, but it probably is not. But editing is powerful skill to edit. If you're an editor, and it's not always, believe it or not, it's not always grammatical. I wrote of the book, I'll just show. This book I wrote, Saying No Nicely. It is on Amazon. This book was edited 10 times. Now, think about this. 10 different people looked at the book before it was published, looked at it, read it, and gave me their feedback. That may not even be enough. That's just the 10 I have for this book. The book originally started with 78 pages. It is now in print. It went to 38 pages. How did we get a 78-page book down to 38 pages? We took out the fat. There were things that did not need to be there to get it down to a book that now you can read as clarity. All of those things matter. So we took out the parts that didn't really matter. They were just fillers. They were just there. Because when you start writing, those of you that are writers, sometimes we get a little mouthy. We talk a little too much. Then that's what you would get when an editor can cut the fat. That's what I call it. So they cut the fat out. And we end up going to almost half the book, really. That's what it ended up being, but that's okay. When you read this, it takes about 30, 35 minutes to read it, done. But what you get from it is powerful. Say no nicely. And I say that it's not about male or female. It's just about being able to say it without, you get to create boundaries for yourself, and you don't want to hurt people's feelings. That's the number one thing I tell everybody. For women, I think men feel the same way too. They don't want to hurt people's feelings either. But we still need a way to do it. And I also talk about in the book about no is a weapon. No is a weapon. So keep that in mind also. So Editing is one. That's another area if you would like to work from home. Another area if you like to work from home, as I said before, being a book publisher. We edit and we publish. We do both. We do it all because I write. I'm the writer of the family, but I will write. And then my husband's an excellent editor, and he's also the publisher. So, but and I keep telling him he has stories in him. He just doesn't know it. The other area, I would encourage you, if you have any thoughts of going into this area, is excellent. And that's writing movie scripts. Writing movie scripts, ladies and gentlemen. If you've ever thought about writing a movie script, now's the time. We have options that used to never exist. Think about this. You can make your own movie. Nowadays, you don't have to wait for anybody to make a movie for you. You can make it yourself. Make your own movie. As they say, you can use your iPhone. They're saying, you watch these commercials, they claim you can use it anyway. I've never used it, but I'm assuming you can, to make a movie. You can, and movies are being made using iPhones. But I'm saying that because now there's no limits. There was a limit before, not that long ago. Not that long ago, you'd have to go into a studio and you have to have these really, really high powered cameras and all of those things you don't have to have anymore. Nope. So you can make your own movie. But I'm using script writing because if you have an idea for a script or you have read a book, but it's not a script, but maybe you know how to write a script, you can take script writing classes on how to write scripts, that kind of thing. So I would encourage you, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever thought about any of those, because another area as we move through these is being a ghostwriter. A ghostwriter. Think about this. You don't have the idea. Somebody else does. But they want the book written and they don't have the time to write it, but they'll pay you to write it. That's a ghostwriter. You don't get any credit for this, by the way. Your name is never included on there for the credit for it, but you get paid. So they pay you, then you release everything, you give them all rights. You never ever say that you had anything to do with that project. That's a ghostwriter. That's a ghostwriter. I've been a ghostwriter, and it is, I don't really tend to do it anymore. And one reason, because I don't have time. Because though it's someone else's project, when you're writing as a ghostwriter, it's as if it's your project. You don't treat it any different. So you're putting the same time and energy and everything else in there as if it were your project. So ghostwriting is itself, it's a business. So keep that in mind. So I just wanted to go over those with you. Remember, because it could be something you might be interested in. And these are businesses you can work from home. You don't have to go anywhere to do these things. As I said on here, the editor, you don't have to go. You can work from home to edit. You don't have to go into an office to be an editor. You can do all that right from your, as I always say, you get to work in your pajamas. You get to work in your pajamas. I really like that fact that you can work in your pajamas. And I'm saying that because you can. Next, a book publisher. As I said before, if you want to learn how to publish books for people, people need book publishers. You may be an author, but you don't know how to publish your book. You don't know how to put that book into a book. You know it needs to be in a book, but you don't know how that is supposed to happen. And that's why you need a publisher to do that, to take your information and make it into a book. It is very important that you have somebody that knows how to do that. The other one I said was writing scripts, movie scripts, either a book you have read or a book that you've written. It may be turned into a movie. Now, it may be a short. Some of you don't realize you can have a short can go from, now I've heard of 1 minute. I don't know how they do 1 minute. It seems kind of short to me, but there's a 1 minute. They have competitions on 1 minute. I think they have competitions on 5 minutes, 10-minute movies, 15 minute, 20 minute, and they compete. So, and then you have the regular, it could be a 90, 60 minutes for a show. Well, let me just go back. You have 30 minutes. Just you can have a 30-minute show. You can have a 60-minute show. You can have a 90-minute movie. That's what that would be. That would be a major motion picture. It would be 90 minutes. The 60 minutes would be a show, but you don't actually, it's not the entire 60 minutes because you have to allow for commercials depending on where you're where you're showing this. That's what's involved in that. Now, I want to go for all that. Then now I'm going to go back to the first one, and then we'll wrap it all up with all the ones I just gave you, because so that you have choices. You know you have choices. I would hope somewhere inside of you some of these resonate, but it's really, I mean, the world is so big and there's so much to offer that you can literally make up your own. There is nothing stopping you now. When I say it's wide open, it feels like the wild wild west. That's what it feels like to me. That you can do it, you name it. You can. There's really no limit anymore. Nothing is limiting you but you. That's what we are now. There's nothing limiting you but you. So if you want to write, write. If you want to produce, produce. If you want to be a publisher, be a publisher. There's no limits. There's no limits. I have been blessed. I not only do I do all those things, I have my own show, and I'm on every Monday at 1 o'clock. I'm on Facebook and I'm on Facebook Live, and I'm also on YouTube. You can catch my show. It's called The Mary D Show. Every Monday, I have a special guest that I'm interviewing. My sons call it the present day Oprah show. That's the Oprah Winfrey show, but it's really the Mary D show. And I interview different people. Some are celebrities, but the truth is we're all celebrities in our own right. We really are. The only difference between celebrities and us, their picture has been taken more often usually, and has been broadcast more often. But they're just like us. People think celebrities are some different anomaly, but they'll tell you that. They'll tell you that I'm just like everybody else. That you guys have seen, but I say you guys, but we've all seen their pictures, and so we put them up on this pedestal stuff. I have learned everybody is just like everybody else. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, we're going to go over the areas that you may be interested in working from home. Okay? They are: one, I talked to you about the very first one's on writing. And I talked to you about children's books. I can't remember if I held it up or not, but anyway, this is the children's book that I've written. It's called Have You Seen a Red Elephant? I wrote the book. I did have it edited and show you some of the pictures from it. So this is, you get to see what that looks like and the pictures. I hired the illustrator. So I wrote the book first. I did write the book first. And I get this a lot of times. People ask me questions like, where do you get these ideas from for this? Where are they coming from type thing? My ideas for books come from everywhere. It can be a conversation. It can be TV. It can be a radio, something I hear, something we're driving in the car and I see something. There is no one place my ideas come from. There isn't. And so I tend to lean on or work more in the genre of children's books, but that's not the only place I write in. As you know, I write for adults too. This book is for adults. Saying no nicely. And the subtitle says, How to Set Boundaries and Avoid Burnout Without Feeling Guilty. Think about that. How to set boundaries and avoid burnout without feeling guilty. That's this book, Saying No Nicely. Now, why do I show you this? I really want to really hit home with this, ladies and gentlemen. This book was based on issues I had. Think about this. I took my issues, put them in a book, and sold them. That's what this is. I was the one that did not know how to say no nicely. This is based on me. I was that person. I would say yes because I didn't want to hurt people's feelings. And what I found from that, I started hurting myself. I remember one evening, and I'll tell you this story. All my stories are true, but this was another story. I had 4 events, same exact day and same exact time. I'll never forget this. I came home, I took a shower, and I went and got into bed. Think about that. I didn't go to any of them because that's when I knew there's something going on here. That's when I said, okay, you need to. I actually said this. You need to learn how to say no. And at that time, I didn't know. I didn't even know I had a problem saying no. That's how I started finding out you have a problem. You should have told. You already said yes to one. Just tell everybody else no. But I didn't do that. I just kept saying yes. Okay, yes, yes, no. Now I'm a lot better. Am I perfect? No, but I'm a lot better than I've ever been learning how to say no nicely. So, and I'm saying this to you, ladies and gentlemen, there's something that you know, excuse me, that you know, that you think everybody knows. I promise you they don't. They don't. And that is valuable to you. If you go on Amazon right now, this book has 14 5 stars. Think about that. So what I know is sold more than 14 copies. Let me say that for sure. But 14 people were willing to go back and do a review and say it was worth 5 stars to them. The information in this little book. This is not War and Peace, but I can tell you it is War and Peace to somebody that does not know how to say no. It is because they needed what I needed. They needed tools, and I give them tools in this book. I'm going to tell you how powerful the book is. I teach you how to say no, and you never once use the word no. Think about that. You never use the word, but you still said no. I talked to you about saying no to your parents, saying no to your significant other, saying no to your boss. And let me tell you about this story because one of the people that were my editors, she was reading over the manuscript. Think about this. She finished the book that night, went to work the next day. Her boss walks to her with a stack of work. I don't know if you guys ever experienced that, but when your boss is walking in your direction, they got a stack of work and it's not your work, you dread it. The boss is walking toward her desk, and the boss says, ask her to do this work. And she used something from this book. One of the techniques. She said, the boss turned to her and said, oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Now here it is. The boss, this is her boss. And she said, thank you. She turned to someone else in her department and spoke to her. This woman didn't know how to say no nicely, and the work ended up on her desk. And she turns to her, she said, in tears. And she tells her, all this is happening within like 1-2 minutes. And she said, what did you say? Because she was coming to you. And she said, I said no nicely. The boss, while they're having this, think about all this is going on. The boss turns back to my friend and tells her, thank you. Not the lady she gave the work to, turns to my friend and thanks her. And she was the one that's not even doing the work now. When she told me the story, she had ran in the bathroom. She was whispering because I didn't know what was going on. And she said, Mary, it works. That's the first thing she told me. And I said, what works? Because I didn't know what she was talking about. She said, I use techniques from your book, and I just have my own boss tell me thank you. And she told me the whole story. Now, you know something, ladies and gentlemen, that you think everybody must know. Oh, everybody knows this. No, everybody doesn't. When I wrote the book, I knew people didn't know because I didn't know. Not only did I not know, I had a friend tell me, nobody's going to buy your book. Everybody knows how to say no. Well, obviously, that's not true. So, whatever it is that you know that you can teach someone else, put it in a book, write it out, put it in a book, pay someone to edit it, or let your family look. I would say let your family look it over first, and then you may have to pay. I paid editors. I still paid editors, even though I had family friends read it. I still paid editor to look at it. Still did. So I would encourage you, write it down. The next one we went into was teaching at a university, a community college, university, or even a secondary school. And you can do, depending on where it is, and they will allow you to do it online, which they are nowadays allowing people to do a lot online. That could be one. That can actually be one. Next, our third episode was travel. As I said before, my husband loved to travel. So travel, either you can be a travel agent. That's one way you can make an income. You can get a team of travel agents. You can make another income like that, or you can do both. We do both. We have a team and we have our own travel agency too, Welch Travel Tours, which anybody can go on. Go to welchtraveltours.com. You sign up and you get to go and see all those discounts we have with travel. If you like to own your own, you go to cometraveltheworld.com and you can own your own. And right now, you can own your own for only $79, which is, in my opinion, a steal. Now, there is a monthly fee. The monthly fee is $19 a month. That's to keep the website up and all the back end and back office, all of those things going. But that's really kind of nominal. But I would encourage you, if you're interested in that, go to cometraveltheworld.com and see just which one you're interested in. Now, today, I was giving you, if those of you that might be interested, to be an editor. You can be a book editor. You can actually be a script, also for scripts too. But a book editor, you can be a book publisher. These are all from home. You don't have to go into office to do these things. Not anymore. There was a time you did, but not anymore. So book editing, book publishing, writing scripts, or being a ghostwriter. So I literally gave you 4 in one time this time because I was trying to squeeze it all in just to tell you. But if you have any questions, you can you can email me. I can give you my email, and that's Mary, Mary, at First Book Academy. Mary at first, the word first, book, BOOK, academy.com. I didn't even talk about that. If you have an idea for a book, you can also go to firstbookacademy.com and you can sign up because there's book coaching there to help you finish your book. Let me say, this is how I feel about it. We all need coaches. We all need coaches. If you don't know how to write and publish a book, you need a coach. You need somebody to show you the way. Because otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, you're kind of spinning your wheels. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to get it done. You don't want that. I think you want it done. You want it done. So let's get it done as I look at it. Okay, so any of those ideas I've given you would be perfect if you like to work from home because then you get to set your own schedule. As I mentioned before, my day starts at 11 o'clock in the morning. That's when I get my first client. But that's what I wanted. In the morning, as I said before, devotions, exercise, spending time with my husband, I give us time. And then in the afternoons is when I really work. But even then, it doesn't feel like work. You think I'm talking about things that I feel like I'm playing. It's not, I know I'm not playing, don't get me wrong, because we're dealing with people in their books and things like that. But that's the energy I bring to it. It's so much joy. It feels like I'm just playing. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope any of these could help you decide what you want to do. I thank you for your time today. I thank you for being here today because I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And I'm going to take my leave, and you can contact me at those websites that I've already given. All right. Thank you, and God bless each and every one of you. Bye-bye.